Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we look at the need for better changing facilities for parents of disabled children. We hit the streets to ask you whether air shows should take place over built-up areas. And my guests tonight are Wayne Rees-Gorman and Will Wheaton Chapman, here to talk about the Grimsby Pride 2015 event. And Louth author Eamon Griffin will tell us about his new novel. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Emma Lingard. Now it's over to Dan Kemp for the news headlines.
Hello there. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding how a man died after being pulled from the River Freshney. Officers were called at 2:15 p.m. on Monday to the site near Ripon Street, following a call reporting a body in the water. He was taken from the river but pronounced dead at the Diana, Princess of Wales Hospital a short time later. An East Yorkshire woman whose husband was left fighting for his life in intensive care set up a support group to help others. Jill Osgerby, husband's Will, was in a coma at Hull Royal Infirmary from April to June this year. The group is the first of its kind in the region, and Jill says the families face such a traumatic situation. Having someone there is vital.
It's a really lonely experience. I mean, I was really lucky to have fantastic family and friends, but sometimes you just want to talk to somebody independent or to just speak to, I mean, the nurses and the doctors were absolutely amazing as well, but sometimes to have somebody independent, I think would have been really helpful to me, and also talk to somebody that's been through it before.
The Care Quality Commission has rated a North East Lincolnshire care home as inadequate. Bradley House Care Home is inadequate in terms of safety, effectiveness and how well led it is. It's also ranked as needing improvement on care and responsiveness. Elsewhere, Lauren House in Hull has been found to require improvement. Witnesses are being sought after a teenager was allegedly hit by a car in Grimsby. A 15-year-old girl was hit down Corporation Road in the town. The incident is said to have happened at around 10 p.m. on Sunday, August the 23rd, and may have involved a small silver car with a large, loud exhaust. She was taken to hospital but released a day later with no injuries. A 3-day annual event celebrating fish is once again coming to North East Lincolnshire. The forthcoming bank holiday weekend will see some of the nation's best fishmongers head to Cleethorpes to showcase their culinary skills for the British Fishcraft Championships. And win or lose, Hull Kingston Rovers will be having a Challenge Cup party to celebrate their achievements when the team returns home on bank holiday Monday. The Robins take on the Leeds Rhinos at Wembley Stadium on Saturday, and celebrations will get underway on Monday from 1 p.m. in Queen Victoria Square. And if they win, the side will kick off with an open-top bus tour from the KC Lightstream Stadium at 12:45. That's all from me for now. You can call us on 01472 31 553. And that's all for now.
A new novel, The Prospect of the City, has just been released, and it tells the tale of the Great Fire of London in 1666. I spoke to author Eamon Griffin earlier about his novel and the inspiration for it. So, Eamon, your book, The Prospect of this City, which is your latest novel, just give us a brief synopsis. What is this all about?
Okay, it's about the start of the Great Fire of London.
Okay.
So it's late August 1666, and a gentleman called Rufus Challis has been hired by the Dutch government to conduct a reprisal attack on London, because England had been at war with Holland through the summer of 1666, and Holland is at the minute on the losing end of things.
Okay.
In fact, the English sent a load of fire ships, burned down old wrecks, into a Dutch port to Shelley, and that caused loads of devastation and chaos. And in the novel, at least, this is set up as a revenge attack on that.
Right.
So Challis comes to London with terrorism on his mind, and that's when the story starts.
Oh, why choose this particular part of history?
Well, we all know a little bit about the Great Fire of London. It's the kind of thing that often gets taught at Key Stage 1 and 2 at schools.
Yes.
There was an ITV drama about it last autumn as well. So we all kind of know about it. But looking into it, I thought it'd be a really interesting area to set a novel in, because having a look around, I couldn't find a book about it. Lots of history, but no fiction. So I thought, right, okay, so no one's actually written a Great Fire of London novel, or at least not recently. And there are some Victorian ones. There's one called Old St Paul's by a chap called Harrison
Right.
Ainsworth from the 1830s, that kind of stuff. But not a recent one anyway,
Yeah,
not one in
yeah.
Smith's. So I thought, right, I'll write one.
And you have done.
And I have done, yeah. But looking into it, because the fire kind of stops on its own, there's no one climactic thing that sorts the fire problem out.
Okay.
So writing a novel about stopping the fire and saving the city doesn't really work, because London doesn't get saved. Pretty much everything inside the old medieval walls gets burned down.
Yes, yeah.
So the idea was, okay, if we can't write a novel about the end of the fire, what about the beginning?
Right.
And that set me on the trail of writing the book.
I see. So this is it, you were inspired by those events in history. Now the character of Chalice, from reviews that I've read, seems quite a nasty character, shall we say. It's not very, well, I don't know, he's not a man maybe you'd want to sit and introduce to your grandma, is he?
No, because he'd kill her.
Lovely.
Chalice is based on a real person,
Right,
a chap called Thomas Blood.
right.
Now Thomas Blood, that's a bit of a that's an awkward name for a villain. You might as well call him Harry Bad and have done with it. So Chalice is a fictionalised version of Thomas Blood. I've changed some of his details, but I drew inspiration from reading a couple of biographies of what Blood got up to in the 1660s and 70s, and some of the other stuff I've added into him. But basically, he's a mercenary. He's a man for hire, but he's also got a very particular worldview. In short, he believes himself to be divinely inspired.
Right.
That the stuff that he does, however bad it is, he can justify it because he thinks it's God working through him,
Okay.
which gives him license to do pretty much anything he wants.
It sounds like a psychopath.
Yes,
Would you say he is?
certainly he's a self-justifying psychopath. It doesn't also help that he's got an old injury and he's addicted to laudanum, to like an opium preparation.
Right.
And yeah, that gives him visions, and you know, that sort of perpetuates these his madness, I suppose.
Oh, it's certainly interesting read already, isn't it? Now, the other thing that, sticking with Chalice, that most people have said when they reviewed it is that, are you going to do a follow-up to this with him in it? Are we going to see any more Chalice?
Well, if people like the book, if enough people buy it and there's a demand for it, then yes, I'll definitely write one.
Yeah.
I've got one in mind already. I've got a story sketched out. It's set about 5 years later, and both Chalice will return and the protagonist, the hero of the book, a chap called Tom Fariner,
Right.
he'll be back in
He'll
this
be
as well.
back as well. Sounds intriguing. How long has it taken you to actually write this?
A couple of years. I did a PhD in creative writing while working in Grimsby. I did it sort of part-time distance learning through Lancaster University. So I was looking for a writing project to do as part of that, because it was creative writing based.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent about 2.5 years writing the book, another year or so doing the dissertation and stuff that goes along around the outside of the whole PhD
Yes.
as well. Then I finished the PhD. I showed the novel around. I got an agent in London, and that was all very exciting, and it nearly got sold and published, and that was really exciting as well. And now things have gone a bit quiet.
Yeah.
So I thought it's best to do something with the book rather than just leave it sitting in a
Yes.
disk and a hard
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
So I'm putting it out there myself and see if there are any takers for
And
it.
this is where we are. Well, if anybody is interested in the prospect of the city, buy it online then?
Online, Amazon is the place to go to.
Okay.
It's in Kindle and in paperback format like that.
Yeah.
And there's a sample up there online for you to read if you like. And
Brilliant.
people seem to like it, which is really nice to see.
Great, well there you go. Well, thank you ever so much for coming in and talking to us about it, and we look forward to the next one.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emma.
You're watching Estuary News. Still to come, we find out your views on air displays following the crash at Shoreham. And we meet Wayne Rees-Gorman and Will Wheaton-Chapman, who are here to tell us about Grimsby Pride 2015. And Dan Kemp will bring you the latest sports news. Going out is a simple pleasure that everyone should be able to enjoy, but it's been claimed that some disabled people are being let down in our area due to a lack of changing place toilets. With only 2 in Scunthorpe, it's putting carers of older disabled children and adults off from going out and could lead to social isolation. Normanby Hall has one of these changing place facilities, and we went there to meet Lorna Fillingham, who's hoping to capture government attention with a campaign for more of these toilets.
Like many people over the summer holidays, Lorna and her daughter enjoy trips to places like Normanby Hall. However, the lack of proper disabled toilet facilities is a real problem, which has forced Lorna to set up a campaign.
I've been lobbying the government to try and include changing places toilets, which are toilets with changing benches, hoists and lots of space in new public buildings, because currently I have a 5-year-old disabled child who I'm having to change on a baby change facility, and obviously she's beginning to outgrow that now, so I wanted to be able to change in better circumstances rather than on a toilet floor.
Current facilities simply aren't adequate. Carers are risking back injury changing children on toilet floors, which may be dirty with bodily fluids. The lack of changing place toilets is a real issue, with only 2 in Scunthorpe and 3 in Hull.
It is a very patchy surface all throughout the area, and it's really not good enough in 2015 that I'm actually having to fight for better toilet facilities for my daughter, and it's not just for my daughter. Like I say, it's for any other teenager and adult who finds themselves in a similar situation.
The local council is taking notice. While no one was available to interview, the council issued a statement saying, "A change of planning policy will need to go to a public consultation, but the council is committed to changing the rules to ensure planning permission will not be granted unless developers include these toilets in their plans." After success at local level, Lorna's next aim is to take the issue a step further to the national level and bring the issues surrounding the provision of changing place toilets to the government's attention.
Yes, I'm hoping to make it UK-wide. I have got an online petition on change.org, ensure equality of access to disabled toilets for all. That has got 1,600 signatures currently on it, and I'm getting more. And I have written to government, my local MPs have written to government ministers, and we're hoping to hear from them, because I'm hoping that the government will take the lead on this.
Now, next weekend sees Grimsby Pride 2015 hold its annual music festival. The group is a non-profit organisation with the aim of raising awareness of the lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender communities within North East Lincolnshire. Joining me to tell us more are Wayne Rees-Gorman, Chairman of Grimsby Pride, and Will Wheaton-Chapman, the Volunteer Coordinator. Welcome both to the studio. Wayne, start with you. This event, you've been running it for 7 years now, haven't you?
Yeah, this is our 7th event, Emma. It started off as a concept by our vice chairman, Sean, and it was called The Event. Right. And it attracted 800 people, and it was held in the car park at the back of the old venue club. Right. And in Pasture Street. And we could see, from that point of view, you could tell that there was an interest for our event, so then it rebranded itself as Grimsby Pride, and then moved to Meridian Park the following year. Now, that's one question I've heard maybe say, why Grimsby Pride, but you're in Cleethorpes, why not Grimsby and Cleethorpes Pride? Am I just going to cause political trouble? Our official charity name is North East Lincolnshire Pride. Right. But in terms of being a bit more snappy and what have you, for promotion and what have you, it's stuck with Grimsby. It's Grimsby Pride. Well, this year you've got another fantastic lineup. Just tell us, who can people expect to see? Well, okay, we've got again some retaining acts. Our local partnership with Cast, and they always do us amazing numbers each year. So we're looking forward to seeing what they've created for 2015. And Birds Aloud, who were our who've been with us from day one.
Right.
They've reformed as a duo.
Okay.
So they will be launching themselves to the Grimsby audience for the first time this year as the Lady Bear of Leeds.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see how their routines changed and adapted as a twosome. And then we have got a new boy band called Remedy performing. We've got a couple of male soloists, Lucas Primer, a young lad who's got quite a good following from the Scunthorpe area called Smashby.
Okay.
And with our headliners this year are Charlie Healy from The Risk.
Right.
And also Lloyd Daniels.
Okay, so big names there for the group. Now, before we talk a bit more about this, Will, I just want to ask you, as volunteer coordinator, I mean, do you need any more volunteers this year?
Every year we always need volunteers because without the event and volunteers, we're not going to be able to run it on our own.
And how many people do normally volunteer for you?
Numbers can vary from like 14 to up. I mean, we've had like 30 people maybe apply.
Yeah.
But actually on the day, it depends who actually turns up for like the training and.
But they're essential, aren't they? In order to
we can't run it without volunteers, basically.
Okay. Audience figures. I mean, how many people normally come through the gate?
Again, our footfall varies. I think the largest audience we've ever had has been about 3,000, 3,500 people. But it does fluctuate, and that can vary on who's on the lineup, people's personal taste and choice.
Yes.
And also the weather is a big factor, touch wood. We have been lucky so far.
Yeah.
Bit windy last year, but at least no rain.
Yeah.
But it's grown to be one of the strongest events at Meridian Park.
I would say it's a crucial event, isn't it, for the diverse communities as well in the area, the work that you do.
That's absolutely right, Emma. And I think growing up in Grimsby, being born in the 70s, so some time ago, I would have never ever imagined Grimsby having a Pride event, because it always seemed to be much more of the major cities and everything else. But I think one of the good things about North East Lincolnshire as a whole, and I think one of the positives traits that we have, is that we do have fantastic community spirit.
Yes.
And sometimes that's not marketed enough. But I think a good advertisement of that, for example, is like the Cleethorpes Carnival. How people come out together.
Exactly.
And I think that's the same that we've found over the years as Grimsby Pride has grown, is the support that we've had from the community.
Well, we're going to have to end it there, but just to remind people then that Grimsby Pride is taking place at Cleethorpes Meridian Park on Saturday, September the 5th. Gates open at 11 o'clock, don't they? And it runs till 6. And people can buy tickets on the gate, can't they? Brilliant. Thank you ever so much for both coming in.
Thank you.
The terrible tragedy at Shoreham, which saw a Hawker Hunter aircraft crash into traffic, killing 11 people, has raised many questions about air displays over public spaces. The Civil Aviation Authority has announced that vintage jets will not be allowed to perform high-energy aerobatics over land as a result. We went to ask your opinion on whether air shows should be allowed to continue over land.
Yeah, because it's obviously not that dangerous, but obviously there's been a few recent incidents recently which would suggest maybe not. If it was in a different kind of entertainment spectacle, I guess it probably someone else would have been done, like it maybe they'd probably cancel it or something. So yeah, probably put it over the sea.
Usually, yeah, because there's safety guidelines in place and things. It's just accidents happen, don't they? So that's all really.
Well, I think they should still take place, but I think they should be careful about where they're doing that. Near that road was well, just awful for everybody, wasn't it? But yeah, I think they should still take place. I mean, people do enjoy them. I've enjoyed them in the past, so yes, but maybe think about the safety of people living nearby a bit more.
Well, yeah, I think that should. Planes fly over all the time anyway, so people choose to go and watch air shows, don't they? So I enjoy the air shows now and then as well. So
yes, they should. Basically, they are a thing that a lot of people look forward to. And it was an accident. I know there's a lot of accidents anyway, but this is just an accident. Pilot error or accident?
Well, it's an hard question actually, because people do like air shows. I've got to admit myself, I love to go and watch an aeroplane, but there's been a few crashes lately, so I think the safety aspect does need to be looked into a bit further. I really can't see stopping people from seeing the show, no. It's just upgrading on the safety aspect of it all.
And now it's over to Dan Kemp for the sports news.
Hull City midfielder Mohamed Diame is set to return from a long-term injury on Tuesday night as the Tigers host Rochdale in the second round of the Capital One Cup. The Senegalese international joins Alex Bruce in being called up to the squad for the first time this season, whilst the likes of Harry Maguire and Greg Lua are also looking set to get game time. Meanwhile, Scottish international Sean Maloney is thought to be very close to signing for the club from the Chicago Fire. Scunthorpe United have completed the signing of Huddersfield Town centre-half Murray Wallace on a month's loan. The 22-year-old is a former Scotland under-21 international and is expected to be in contention for a place for Saturday's game against Colchester United. Hull KR's Albert Kelly will have until 24 hours before Saturday's Challenge Cup final to prove his fitness. The 24-year-old has missed all the Robins mid-late games since the semi-final after picking up a medial ligament strain in the win over Warrington. Academy graduate Matty Marsh has been lined up as Kelly's replacement if he fails to prove his fitness in time. Yorkshire duo Adil Rashid and Liam Plunkett have been named in the England one-day international squad for the series against Australia. They're joined by David Willey, who signs for the Tykes from next season. The series gets underway on Monday the 31st of August for a 2020 match before 5 one-dayers, of which one is at Headingley. That's all for now. Don't forget to get in contact with any stories you have for us. You can call 01472 31 553, email sport@estuary.tv or search for us on Facebook or Twitter @estuarytv. And that's all for the sport.
And that's it for tonight. Thank you to all my guests. If you've a news story for us, then visit our Facebook or Twitter pages. Details are on the screen. Or email news@estuary.tv or pick up the phone and call Grimsby 01472 315 553. Until next time, good night.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Breaks of heavy rain Wednesday, clearing by midday to leave a dry, breezy day with some sunny spells, maybe some more rain later, and highs of 21 degrees. Thursday, breezy with scattered showers and sunny spells.